What's up, guys? This is Eric. I wanted to show you Colonel Dad's most recent project. I think you would call this a short sword or maybe a long dagger, but it is made once again from random sword pieces that I gave him, and he was able to make something really, really impressive out of it. Let me give you a look at it first. I don't quite, again, I don't quite know what to call anything, ever. So I'm going to call this a short sword. It could also be a long dagger. But essentially, this is the blade from a Windlass Cobra steel Kindjal, which it's Kindjal. Years ago, Skallagrim, check out his channel, obviously. He doesn't need my say-so. He had mentioned this as one of the better blades that you could get for under $100, and I think it's still like 60 bucks now. So it's a short sword blade, but it comes originally with a really squishy rubber handle that I just wasn't a fan of. I mean, when you really got to swinging it, you could feel the blade and the tang sort of shifting and moving inside the rubber. That's how soft it was. It felt like car tire rubber. I just wasn't a fan. So I took a kitchen knife and I shaved all that rubber off the blade and the tang, which it had a nice size tang on it, so we were able to then take a grinder and grind that down to size to fit inside the handle of a Chassepot Yataghan bayonet. Now, I'm using the Chassepot Yataghan bayonet blade on another cutlass which Colonel Dad made, and I'll have to show that to you at a later date. But suffice it to say, it is a son of a bitch to get the blade out of the handle. The Chassepot Yataghan bayonet, it's got a brass handle, right? That's kind of notorious for being uncomfortable in the hand. But the blade's amazing. So we took the blade out, made a cutlass out of it, had the handle left over, but the handle had 3 holes punched in it where I had drilled out the original pins to take the blade out. And I didn't like the way it felt anyway, so Dad took that brass handle and made a perfect fitting little leather shroud, which just feels amazing. It's really tight, and I believe it's probably also glued in place, or epoxied in place, I would imagine, but it's good, thick, soft leather. He's got a ring of leather up here at the top of the handle to kind of transition your grip. Then he also ground out a little finger choil, which is smooth. See, normally this blade was double-edged all the way back down to the hilt. But when we put this grip on it, obviously we wanted to take advantage of what I think is the coolest part of the Chassepot Yataghan bayonet hilt, and that is this little curve here, where you can kind of rest your finger. But this blade came all the way down to the hilt, so it would have been very dangerous to rest your finger around the sharp edge of that blade. So Dad ground out a choil, and now you can hold it like that. See that? So yeah, again, the blade is from a Windlass Cobra steel Kindjal, which, you know, I guess it's fine. The weight of it doesn't impress me, but apparently it's pretty well made for the price. So saith Skallagrim. And the handle is from a Chassepot Yataghan bayonet with my dad's own fitting, little leather grip cover. And this whole thing, everything my dad makes is just solid as a rock. So it's got a really good weight. I gotta say, the grip is so much better. Not only is the brass Chassepot Yataghan bayonet grip heavier because it was just solid brass. Well, not solid, it was hollow, but it was very thick, heavy brass. Then it's got this chunky iron hilt up here, which makes the blade feel weightless compared to the original rubber handle, which was really squishy and floppy, and the blade just flopped lethargically in your hand. It just wasn't attractive to look at or to use. So huge improvement in handle and grip to the Windlass Cobra steel Kindjal blade by Colonel Dad. Oh yeah, almost forgot. So the leather that he used on the handle here, he had just enough left over to make some Daisy Dukes for the sword, some little short shorts. Check that out. It's a little quarter sheath, so you can hang it from your belt when you're trekking around in the woods. I always talk about trekking around in the woods and fighting goblins and whatnot, but more than likely I'm just going to be in my backyard with one of my friends throwing tennis balls or pears at me. But again, that's just as much of an adventure. I'm just gonna roll like straight into the next video. That way I don't have to mess around with the camera. And this is how I know to start here in the editing.